Hey guys, it is Saturday, April the 29th. It's a beautiful morning around 9 a.m. My plan today is to do 2 day hikes because I found a cheap hotel in Franklin, North Carolina last night, which is a far drive for me, so I can wake up early and fit in at least 2 hikes today. I've been pretty busy trying to graduate as of late, so I didn't think I had time for a backpacking trip. And also tomorrow there's a much higher chance for rain and thunderstorms, so I thought I'd try to do a 20-mile day, pack light, go as fast as I can, see what I can do. My first hike begins at Wayah Gap in Nantahala National Forest. This is in the Wayah Ranger District, just a few miles west of Franklin. And I'm following the Appalachian Trail north to Wayah Bald, which is the tallest peak on Trimont Ridge, and then Wayah Bald, which is the main destination. Wayah Bald is at 5,342 feet, and it has a lookout tower. So I'm pretty pumped to see how it looks up there. Wayah Gap is a pretty high elevation, starting around 4,100 feet. So I'm only gaining about 1,200, 1,300 feet towards the summit. The round trip is 8.4 miles, not including the short out and back to Wayah Bald. So it might be closer to 9 miles total, which is still pretty short. So hopefully I can do this in about 3 to 4 hours and on to my next hike. So far it's been a really pleasant trail. It's a really compact dirt, which is great on the feet, and there haven't really been any steep uphill climbs yet. It is late April, so it's already well into spring for North Carolina, but at these elevations I'm probably around 4,500 feet or higher. Not really many of the leaves have started coming in yet on the bigger trees, so still feels pretty open. Not a green tunnel yet. One of my favorite reasons to hike the Appalachian Trail in the springtime is for scenery like this. Usually the grass that lines the trail, because it's worn down so much, comes in much earlier than the leaves. So you get this really cool contrast when you get to higher elevations. Really pretty. I'm over the 5,100 foot elevation mark, and I've made the big turn east towards Wayah Bald, which is that hump ahead. So I should pass it shortly. And from here on out, I'll be staying above 5,000 feet on Trimont Ridge to Wayah Bald. All right, guys, it's map time. The map I have for this area is the National Geographic number 785, Nantahala and Calisasia Gorges for Nantahala National Forest. In general, these National Geographic maps are pretty bad. You should not rely on these for navigation ever. One of the main reasons is because they don't give you the proper details you need for the topography to navigate with a map and compass. The scale on this one is 1 in 70,000. If you recall my last video at Harper Creek, that map was 1 in 24,000. So this is almost 3 times wider in scope, which means that anytime you're looking at road and trail intersections, you don't have enough topography detail to really get yourself oriented. So it's kind of a general guideline for any area, any of these National Geographics. Unfortunately, where I'm hiking doesn't have really any good maps other than this. So I started at sorry, it took me a while to flatten it out. So I started here at Wayah Gap, which is on Wayah Road, and you can see the label there for Wayah Crest Picnic. And I took the Appalachian Trail north, and then currently I'm around this area, curving around east around Wayah Bald, and then I'll follow the crest of Trimont Ridge to Wayah Bald, and then from there I'll turn around and head back. So not great detail, but that's the hike I'm doing today. I thought I would dovetail off of the map display and talk to you a little bit more about the region I'm in. If you watch my other videos, you know I don't get out to this area of North Carolina that often. Most of the places in southwestern North Carolina are a 4 to 6 hour drive for me from Chapel Hill. So I usually can only get out here for a backpacking trip, or if I stay in a hotel 1 or 2 nights and do a lot of day hikes. Otherwise, I tend to stick to Pisgah National Forest and the northern parts of North Carolina and southern Virginia, which are less than a 3 hour drive for me. Nantahala National Forest is a really big swath of protected land that covers most of southwestern North Carolina, and it lies between the South Carolina and Georgia borders to the south, the Tennessee border to the west, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park border to the north, and the Pisgah National Forest border to the east. Generally, the western Great Balsam Mountains in the Panthertown Valley area north of Cashiers, that's the border area between Pisgah and Nantahala National Forest. Currently, I'm in the Nantahala Mountains, which is a big sub-range of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and this is the largest mountain range in the National Forest. But there are a lot of other sub-ranges in this area that have their own name and classification. Those are the Alarka Mountains, Cowie Mountains, and Plot Balsam Mountains to the northeast. The Great Balsam Mountains to the far east. And then to the west are the Valley River Mountains and the Tusquety Mountains. And to the northwest are the Unicoi Mountains around Joyce Kilmer Slick Rock Wilderness. The Nantahala Mountains generally between 3,000 and 5,000 feet. I'm in the exception. Trimont Ridge is over 5,000 feet. And the 2 peaks I'm going to today are Wayah Bald at 5,342 feet and Wayah Bald, which I forgot the exact elevation, but it's just above the 5,440 foot contour. The tallest peaks in the Nantahala Mountains are just south of here in the Southern Nantahala Wilderness, and that's Standing Indian, and that's at 5,499 feet. So I'm just below the tallest peaks in the area, and I'm heading to, as I said before, Wayah Bald. And a lot of the balds in the Nantahala area are overgrown. They're mostly forested now, and there's only a few exceptions. One of them is today, and most of them are heath balds, so you got to do some research before you take your time and head to something that might not have anything to see. So I should be passing by Wine Spring next. Really beautiful trail as I wind around Wine Spring Bald on the north side, heading east, and the hump in the distance is Wayah Bald, but really sparse forest with some nice tall green grasses. Very pleasant. Approaching the fire tower on Wayah Bald. This is the beautiful stone lookout tower at the top of Wayah Bald. This tower was finished in 1937, but as you can see from all the trees around me, they're all burned. There was a really big forest fire in November of 2016, about 5 months ago. There were a lot of forest fires all over the southeast, and this one started at the bottom and burned all the way up to the top. And there used to be a beautiful top cab that was wooden with a roof, and that was also burned. But still a very nice view, very hazy today. In the southeast direction are the Fishhawk Mountains, and to the south is the Southern Nantahala Wilderness, including Mount Albert and Wayah Bald on the left, and Standing Indian on the right. And straight ahead there is Siler Bald. So pretty good view to the south. To the north from the tower, really hazy. You could see some of the Nantahala Mountains in that direction. In this direction is Wayah Bald, and over here are the Cheoah Mountains, but you can't really, and the Great Smoky Mountains, but you couldn't really see anything today, unfortunately. So hopefully later in the day these clouds burn off and I get more clear views. Currently walking on Wine Spring Bald Road to the summit. You can see the communications towers poking up ahead, so I'm almost there. The overgrown forest road that I pass on the trail near the Bartram campsites leads to this, so it's a really easy walk. Barely any elevation gain from the Appalachian Trail. At the top of Wine Spring Bald, there are no views from the summit. I didn't expect there to be any, but it's even worse than I thought. Just a lot of communication structures. I only did this to peak bag it. It's the tallest peak on Trimont Ridge, and it's one of the tallest peaks in the Nantahala Mountains. So I thought I'd just check it off the list. It's a really easy side hike. The map at the Wayah Bald parking area said this was 5,451 feet. I don't think that's what my North Carolina Lookout Towers book says, but it's close to that. So pretty high mountain, but only do it for the peak bag. All right guys, finished with the hike. I'm back at the Wayah Crest Picnic Area. As you can see the sign behind me. The hike ended up being just around 9 miles and 3 hours and 45 minutes. A little slower than I was hoping, but I think I took too much video. It slowed me down. I was aiming for about 3:15, 3:30. But it was a really nice hike. You know, it was a great stretch of the Appalachian Trail. Really well graded. Nothing too steep. The only disappointment was it was really hazy at the top of Wayah Bald, so I didn't get really clear views, but still a really nice area. I think it'd be awesome in the winter when it's much clearer and the trail is accessible via paved road. So I think it'd be a really good winter hike. But it is just about 1 o'clock and time to do my next day hike. See you guys later.